Hey there, and welcome to this live training where we are talking all about how important is what you eat for weight loss, fat loss, building muscle, and then also overall health. Because you've probably heard me and a lot of other people talk all about a calorie deficit till we are blue in the face, trying to convince you that this is the actual way that you're going to make progress, whether that is to lose weight, whether that is to sort of stay at your current weight, or whether that is to build some muscle. That focusing on calories, energy balance is the way to go. All of these fad diets that are doing all various different sorts of things, even diets that actually work and do good things, are actually just coming back to that core principle of energy balance. So you've kind of heard that until we're blue in the face. Probably you're sick and tired of me saying the words calorie deficit, but hey, you like the sound of my voice, so maybe you're not sick of me hearing saying calorie deficit. But anyway, now we're talking about how important is what you actually eat in this whole process. And even some people will say that what you eat is way more important than how much you eat, because people will say to you that 100 grams of Haribo is not the same as 100 grams of chicken and all this different sort of stuff. So what is actually going on here and what is actually most important to making progress? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down for you how important the foods you eat are to your overall goal and where it all fits into the whole process. Now, to start off, what I'm going to be talking about is the nutrition pyramid. And this is something that I teach within my coaching group, so within my Lean Life University, where my clients come in and they have basically a bunch of different videos on my education platform to really view and watch and basically build up their nutritional knowledge over the course of the time they're with me. Now, we talk about in that the nutrition pyramid, and there is one for fat loss and there is one for building muscle, because the priorities within each aren't exactly identical. So if you look at the fat loss one first, you can see that calories and energy balance are clearly the most important thing. That is going to be how we're going to make progress. If you did nothing else but just focus on your calories in versus calories out equation, let's say, for example, you're trying to lose weight, you will make progress if that is all you did. That's not to say the other stuff's not important and you should forget about it, but it's to say that that's the foundational principle, that if you focused on everything else and ignored calories, nothing would fucking happen. That's what we're trying to say. Then on top of that, you'd be looking at your macronutrient content, primarily looking at a minimum amount of fat and trying to optimize your protein intake. And then you'd be looking at things like sleep, optimizing that. You'd be looking at nutrient timing, so things around your workout and things like that. You'd also be looking then at micronutrients. And that really is where the quality of your food and what you eat comes into a level of importance. So it really is kind of towards the top end of the pyramid. If you imagine that, basically, I would say maybe 80% of the progress that you'll make will come from energy balance, and the rest of it is much, much smaller incremental progress. Again, just looking at fat loss. It's just looking at fat loss. After that, you've got supplements, which again, for fat loss is very, very small amount of benefit you're going to get from them. And then at the top, you've got meal frequency, which is pretty much no actual material impact. Anyway, if you then switch over to building muscle, calories, macronutrients, sleep, all still remain at the base of that pyramid. So they're still the most important things that you need to focus on. However, this is where things start to switch up, because now you're going to start to focus on meal frequency, particularly protein frequency, because more consistent protein feedings, as we've talked about on other podcasts and videos, that's what's going to help you optimize the process of building muscle. So more frequent protein feedings. After that, you've got supplements. So things like creatine are really going to help you to build muscle more than what you eat in terms of the quality of the foods. So as long as you're, again, and this is kind of where things start to maybe sort of blend a little bit, because if you are hitting all of your protein requirements, you're having regular protein feedings, then probably naturally your food choices are going to be pretty good. There's not going to be many people that solely just live off of protein shakes and live off of protein bars. You're going to get some of that protein to meet those protein requirements, which are much further down the pyramid, by eating fresh food that's got a bunch of nutrients in it. However, you could still build muscle without doing all of that. That's what we're saying here. Not that you should. After that, you then got meal timing, and right at the top, you've got what you eat in terms of importance. Now, like I said, that is like the importance scale. That's not to say that you should just disregard all of these different elements of your nutrition because, well, Simon said that it's all about calories and protein. So fuck the rest of this shit. I'm not going to eat this, and this, because Simon said I didn't need to. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in terms of just eliciting the result, that's one thing. But health is like a multifaceted thing. It's not just about calories. It's not just about even nutrition. A healthy lifestyle, if that's what you're aiming for, is about, yes, it's about calories. It's about nutrition. It's about, exercise. It's about lifestyle change, habit change, long-term process changes within your life that help you lead a happy, mentally healthy life as well. It's a multifaceted thing about your environment and so many different things that go into it. It's not just about, it'd be too simplistic to say you're healthy if you hit a calorie number. That's not what I'm saying. But if your primary goal is to hit a bit of weight loss, then yeah, you're going to really have to get those calories right first. And that already comes back to really kind of maybe the first point, which is, what is your goal? What is your goal? Do you want to lose some body fat? Do you want to increase some muscle? Do you want to kind of learn how to stick where you're at? Or is it you just want to be a little bit healthier, whatever that means to you? And that kind of then dictates where the focus should be in terms of your nutrition. Likewise, if you're someone who's hugely new to the process and you want to drop some body fat, then yes, your first point of call is always going to be calories and starting to get that in place. But then it's not about ignoring everything else. What you eat is important, but it's not the most important thing in the process. And that's kind of, I think, the nuance that you have to understand is that a lot of people will take calories and say, right, okay, because it's just about calories, I'm just going to eat whatever the fuck I want and balls to everything else. But yes, you could do that, but that doesn't mean you should. And that is probably a bit of a nonsensical and too simplistic approach to adopt, because it does lead to other issues. Because let's say, for example, you are someone who wants to drop a bit of body fat, get in shape, be leaner, healthier, all of that good stuff that we all want. Now, if I was to say to you, okay, it's all about calories, which is the primary goal, but if I was to say that's the only thing you should focus on, which is definitely not what I'm saying, then it would be a case of you would be looking at calorie dense food potentially. You would be looking at the Pop-Tarts. You would be looking at having McDonald's every day. You would be looking at all of these different sorts of things, having hugely calorie dense foods and not focusing on nutrition and nutrient content all the time. Now, what that's going to do is probably mean that you're actually not going to have much food at all, because the more calorie dense it is, probably the lower volume it is, and therefore you're probably not going to feel hugely full during that process, which is going to potentially lead you to some issues. Now, that being said, that's going to maybe affect your hunger levels. So if you're not having much food throughout the day because you're primarily focusing on hugely calorie dense foods, then that's going to cause you some issues and cause you to be hungry. Maybe then that stops you from adhering to your calorie deficit, and again causes you problems further down the line. Also, if you're just focusing on calories and calories only, then you could be deficient, not just in terms of nutrients like vitamins and minerals that have knock-on impacts to your health. So you could be fatigued, and you could have various different other deficiencies and complications from not having a good diet. You could also be deficient in protein if you're not really focusing on too much, which could lead to some other sorts of illnesses and diseases and things like that. So it's not just about calories, although calories is the prime driver for weight and fat loss. That's the key thing to remember. And also, if you're not focusing on things like fiber, when you've got a high protein diet that's very low in fiber, there is potential for you to have some gut health issues. So if you've got, maybe you're having it, you've got a real churny gut and you've got the shits all the time, maybe that could be down to all of these different sorts of things that are going on. You're not focusing on the nutrient content. Likewise, if you're constipated, backed up, and you can't actually go for a dump, then maybe it's to do with like low fiber content. And again, that leads to some health issues that you don't really want. So yes, calories Energy balance is important. Yes, it's the prime driver for your weight and your fat loss, but it's not the only thing you should focus on. Nutrition doesn't stop at calories. It's a building process. So just because calories are the primary focus for weight loss doesn't mean that everything else is irrelevant. Because like I said before, health is about more than calories. It's about more than nutrition. It's this multifaceted approach that affects all different aspects of your lifestyle. And you've got to change all of these different parts. The key thing is about doing it in logical stages and logical sequences, because it's going to be very difficult for most people to just flip a switch overnight. I wish I could click my fingers. And then be able to make all of these raft of changes that are going to make you optimize your health and optimize your nutrition within hours. It's just not going to happen for the most people. So really it's going to be about stages. And those stages would be, for me, I would say focus on calories first. Yes, get that in place, especially if you are new to the process. Get to understand what your energy balance needs to be, get to understand your BMR, get to understand your TDEE, and then get the right amount of calories in your diet for you to make progress. That's the first step, the first hurdle. But again, don't stop there. Now you need to then tune into your macronutrients. You need to tune into getting your right protein intake and all of these different sorts of things. And getting those foundational things in place. So it's not like being able to stick to calories for one day. You need to be able to do this consistently. So getting in the right habits and the right processes for you enabled you to keep those calories in check. And then as I work with my online coaching clients, it's then about building up nutritional knowledge. So yes, it might be a case of you're brand new to the process and we just start small. We just start with a few habit changes. We just start with a few process changes about what you're doing to make sure that your calories are on point and in check. Cool, awesome. Once you've got that down pat, then we start to make some increases on there. So maybe we're looking at protein intake, maybe we're looking at nutrient content of your diet, increasing your vegetables, increasing foods that maybe help you to have more volume, so it reduces your cravings. Maybe it's like less processed food, less refined sugar, so that again, in terms of being able to keep hunger at bay and stopping those cravings that are potentially taking you way off track, we're keeping all of that in check. But we're also getting you all the vitamins and minerals that you need so that you're optimizing your health. But again, we're building on a foundation. Then you might be starting to make lifestyle changes, so how things work around your work life, your family life, so all of this sorts of sits in place. But the key thing I would have you take away from this is that you don't have to make every single raft of change overnight, because probably for most people it's too overwhelming and it's too difficult to get your head around that and trying to get that to fit in. So don't feel like you have to make huge changes within hours. This is potentially a slower process than you may realize. Basically get the foundations in place so that you are making progress, so that you're not spinning your wheels, you're not on that kind of hamster wheel of not making any progress whatsoever, or you're in this process of crash dieting and putting weight back on. Really get back to those foundations, understand what really is going to drive your weight and fat loss or muscle building, or whatever your goal is. But like I said, what you eat is important. So don't stop at calories. Carry on and increase your knowledge of nutrition. Build on your knowledge of nutrition as you go forward. That is going to be what's going to lead you to a leaner, healthier, stronger life for good. And that's what you want. So hopefully you enjoyed this little bit of training. Hopefully you took some good things away from it. And if you did, and you want to come and say hi, and you want to basically tell me what you thought of this, then come and visit me on Instagram at iron_paradise_fitness. That's where I hang out the most. And if you want more information, basically if you want to find out how many calories you need to be eating, then I've got a guide for that in my Lean Life Kickstarter pack, plus free recipe packs, free 4-week training program, and a bunch of other stuff that you can have for free if you click the link in the comments section. But until then, all I will say is keep living the lean life, and I will see you for the next one.